How you doing? It's Will from Will Development. This is my 459th weekly update. I am officially, I'm officially recovered from the big show from OSG. Finally, been having a successful launch of the new product, the Lucky Number Seven wipes. Back to the gym consistently this week. Still not on any 100% concrete program. I probably won't be on one until the first of the year, just because there's still some travel plans coming up and things like that. I just don't want to kind of get into a routine that may or may not get broken. So it's just been kind of having just a little bit of fun and testing some things out, seeing what little tidbits I want to add in here or there for the next program, and then going to be picking a show to do. So I have something definitive to work toward. Um, Want to be a little choosier about shows I do this year for sure. That way I don't burn myself out within the first 5 months and then spend 2 months just recovering from that. I'd rather be able to do a few shows here or there every, maybe every quarter, do like one or two shows at the most. Maybe one for fun and then one for, okay, this is serious, to sort of figure out what I need to work on, that sort of thing. But yeah, it's been good getting back and finally, consistently getting into the gym. That's been a very cool, good feeling. Other than that, just keeping up with orders and stuff like that, and poured for the first time in. I mean, honestly, it's probably only been about a month, but it feels like it's been forever since I poured. And I don't know. I don't want to say I missed it, but like part of me missed that routine of pouring, and seeing that I had slightly lost some edge in in my work. I used to be able to just sort of like, all right, that's a perfect amount of water, that kind of thing. And this pour I just did, I was like, oh man, I'm you know one batch way too much water, one batch way too little water, and I was like, oh, all right. So apparently, it is a depreciable skill, which is good to know. And I probably should do more than one pour a quarter. But I've got a couple other ones coming up. Got to do some work for the tally games. Just 4 stones. The pour is going to be the easy part. The rest of it's the challenging part. Doing something really cool and unique. I'll talk about it. Let's just say when I can actually make it happen. uh, but yeah, that should be a fun pour. Most of the work on that is going to be getting them to look nice. They're more of show stones, which I'm not a huge fan of, just in general. Usually not a big fan of just stones that are for show. Debating on painting them, which I'm usually pretty against, but these particular stones are going to be modified in such a way that lifting them traditionally, I'm not going to say it's going to be impossible anyway, but you probably wouldn't want to lift them in a traditional Atlas stone manner anyway. So I don't think I have any sort of ethical quandaries with you know painting these particular stones if it makes them visually more stimulating for what they're going to be used for. Like I said, I'll go into details a little bit later. I just don't want to talk about the details right now. It's one of those things where I feel like if I talk about something, that means it's already done, and I don't want to fall into that trap of like, oh, it's already done, whatever. No, it's like I want to do it first and talk about it after it's done. So yeah, been a good week. I think one of the other big things is I was on a trip last weekend. I want to say on Sunday. Is it Sunday or Saturday? I don't remember. One of the days. Just quick trip up to Jacksonville to pick up some stuff. And kind of on the trip, having a discussion, and I just sort of realized, like, I don't need my big truck that I have, which my big truck's not even that big. It is, a half ton, but 3/4 ton pickup, because I think the payload's 1,800 on it, which is like 3/4 ton, I think, somewhere in that range. It's just a V6 5 speed, but it's a full size truck, and it's just like I don't need this big thing because it's like anytime I take a trip far, anywhere outside the range of like 3 hours, I get nervous taking that truck. It's just it's up there in age, and there's no cruise control on it, and everything's working fine on it. But it's just one of those things where it's like, why am I driving this big truck when I could just every time I take a trip that's more than 3 or 4 hours away, I end up just like renting a truck to do it. And I'm like, between maintenance and insurance and registration and all that, it's like I would just save money by just not having that truck at all. Like even just the cost of renting a vehicle, I can rent a truck for like $70 a day. And I don't have to care about any of it. I don't have to care about tires. I don't have to care about insurance, registration, none of that stuff. Just got to worry about the gas. And usually those, I mean, stronger, more fuel efficient trucks. You know what I mean? And so I kind of realized, it's like, I think I'm going to just sell my red truck and just get my Ranger running again. There wasn't anything deeply wrong with it anyway. It was just when it stopped running, it was just an injector, and at the time, for whatever reason, it was just really hard to find injectors for it. And then of course I go and look for them, this week, and oh, here's a pack of 6 for your exact truck, exactly what you need. And I was just like, where were these 4 years ago? I would have much rather spent $60 on injectors than buying a whole new truck. But at the time, it felt like the right thing to do, and right now, the right thing to do feels like to sell my larger red truck and just get the Ranger up and running again. Just use it for my around town stuff. It can pick up concrete, no problem. It can haul 1,000 pounds of concrete. Like, I did that with it for years. The hardware store is less than a mile from my house anyway, and then for just local deliveries that I have to make, I have no problem taking that thing the same exact distance that I'm willing to take my big red truck. And then anything beyond that, well, I guess I'll just rent a truck to do it. And then after that, I might just add a tow package to the Ranger and just get a little trailer for if I need to do, say, a lot of stuff. You know, Trailer with like 1,200 pound capacity, and then I can put 800 to 1,000 in the bed. That's a lot of stones I could take locally and around town, that kind of deal. And the insurance is cheaper on that little truck. Registration's about the same. Parts are cheaper though. Easier to find too. He says after just talking about how hard it was to find the injectors, but the more common parts are super easy to find with that little Ranger versus this. I happen to buy like the most unique F-150 on the planet. And I'm not saying it is. It's just like they only ran this model from 2004 to 2008. Mine's 2005. And then it's the V6 version, which is rare-ish. Then it's the 5 speed, which is even more rare. So it's just like, man, just sometimes finding part, and it's not a 4x4. It's just like, it's just every little thing with that truck trying to find parts for it. I had my oil pressure sensor in the parts store. We went through 3 different boxes before we finally found the right one for that truck. It's just like, dude, Meanwhile, with the Ranger, I remember most of the common things I had to get for it, whatever it was, other than the injectors, only because that one's an E85, flex fuel engine. Everything was super easy to find on it, and it's way cheaper 9 times out of 10. I mean, a set of rotors for that red truck, all 4 was like, and I'm not complaining, it's just comparative. I think I paid like $200 for a set of all 4, and that's nothing honestly in the truck world. But that one still has drum brakes, the Ranger. and I can get a pair of rotors and new drums because I remember because I did it for like about $100. So I mean, just everything, even just the basic maintenance stuff, and it is just a simpler truck. It's an older truck. It's a '99 versus 2005, and in those 6 years, yeah, a lot of stuff changed. And it's just a simpler truck. Everything about it is simpler. The engine, the electronics. It's also a 5 speed, so that's stupid simple. Just keep that up, and yeah. So I'm gonna be hopefully getting that thing up and running this weekend, and assuming I can get it running, and I'll ride it around, back and forth here, just around the neighborhood, and just a little around the town. And assuming everything's running good for that little week, I'll test it out. Um, yeah, I'm just gonna sell the red truck and just I'll have it around the town slash short distance, you know, just what I'm doing with the red truck, which is like 3 hours or less trips. I have no problem taking the Ranger, and it could do just about what the red truck could do. Capacity's a little less, but again, just get a trailer. It's no big deal. Of course, then ironically, the money I saved on registration, I'm going to be spending on registering a trailer. Although they're usually not expensive. It's just 20, $40 a year or something like that. So I think overall it feels the right move. So I'm gonna just get that pupper running again and have incentive to actually fix the air conditioning on it, and every other odds and ends little thing. Even it takes less fluids, everything about it. I think the transmission on the truck, it's like 3 quarts of transmission fluid, and then but on the Ranger it's only like 1.5. So it's just everything about it. It's smaller, so it needs less, and it's just I do need to do the axle seals on the back end. I know I replaced them, but I didn't do a good job, and I remember they were still leaking, so I probably have to check that before I go too crazy on it. But yeah, so that's where it is right now. That's where my head's at right now, and that's the weekly update. So if anybody gives you grief for just letting a vehicle rot in your yard, I say show them what for, get that baby running, and then turn it back into your around the town vehicle. And if you don't, then what's your excuse?